Hi, everybody. My name is Kobe Warner. This is KOBLIZZY. And before I get into this episode and I talk about the song of the week, I want to not send out thoughts and prayers because, frankly, those don't do anything. But I just want to, as a queer person, express how deeply saddened and just, I don't know, in Colorado Springs, right? Let me Google this. Let me pull up some details because I just started talking. Colorado Springs in Club Q, I believe is the name of the club. There was a shooting which left 5 people dead and injured. Oh God, this is terrible. This is so bad. Like it is just terrible. 5 people were dead. More than a dozen people were shot. In addition to the 5 people that were killed, another 25 were injured, including 19 who were shot. Colorado Springs Mayor John Suthers said, "It was a hate crime. It was a hate crime. Am I taping? Yeah, it was a hate crime, you guys. Like, and a shooting, another shooting, not just a hate crime, but another shooting. When are we gonna have some fucking decorum? Or, excuse me, when are the Republicans gonna recognize that common sense gun safety and regular civilians not being able to walk around with AR 15s and assault weapons, other assault weapons, that is not an infringement on your right to bear arms? It would save so many lives, a drastic amount of lives. The Second Amendment was established when it took like forever to reload your fucking musket. You know what I mean? You were able to carry around a musket. You could shoot one person like every 5 minutes. Like that's a hyperbole, but I'm like, it was not talking about a gun that can kill 20 people in 5 seconds. You know what I mean? Like, it's not a political issue, it's literally a matter of life and death. And in this case, it's a hate crime, an attack on trans and queer people, trans and other queer people, and it's being fueled by the rhetoric that the Republican Party, the right, the far right, is currently pushing a narrative that demonizes trans and queer people, and they are single-handedly responsible for the uprise in bigotry that we are seeing in the media, on the internet, on social media platforms, and in violence. Each year, more trans people are dying. Each year, more trans women of color are dying. Each year, another shooting happens. Oftentimes, they are hate crimes. Oftentimes, they are targeted. Sometimes they aren't. But neither of those things are a partisan issue. The existence of trans and queer people is not a partisan issue. Common sense gun control is not a partisan issue. Trans and queer people exist, period. Don't like us if you don't want to, but we aren't going anywhere. Despite you're literally trying to exterminate us currently, despite that. And common sense gun control is not an infringement on your Second Amendment right. It's just not. It's just not. And I just can't. I have an eye booger. I hope you can't see it. I just got rid of it. It's just not. And I'm really frustrated by this. And so I hate to start the episode in such a heavy manner, but I just want to say I cannot sit idle. I can't sit idly by and not say something. Um, but it certainly won't be thoughts and prayers. Like a lot of the Republican officials who perpetuate the trans and queer hate right now are sending. This dumb ass Lauren Boebert or whatever the fuck this stupid bitch's name is, Boebert, The news of Colorado Springs is absolutely awful. This morning, the victims and their families are in my prayers. The lawless violence needs to end and end quickly. But weren't you the one actively trying to block the gun bills? I mean, like Marjorie Taylor Greene and her peanut gallery and the peanut gallery are so trifling. Because that's the same girl, Lauren Boebert, the dummy, is the same one who was tweeting that viral tweet, take your children to church, not to drag bars. You know what I'm talking about, maybe. You might have seen it. Lauren Boebert calls Equality Act supremacy of gays, lesbians, and transvestites, which is a very outdated term. Lauren Boebert says the left is grooming our kids over LGBT inclusive flashcards. Lauren Boebert argues people should have to wait until the age of 21 to come out as LGBTQ+. Are you going to pass a law, dummy? Lauren Boebert says LGBTQ people are spitting in God's face and perverting the nation. Like, this woman is ridiculous. Talking about this morning, the victims and their families are in my prayers. The lawless violence needs to end and end quickly. And in the same breath, or maybe a couple breaths later, is saying all this other ridiculous shit. It's ridiculous. It's ridiculous. And Marjorie Taylor Greene, don't get me started on this dumbass woman. Tragically, 300 Americans, this is a tweet, tragically, 300 Americans die of fentanyl poisoning every day in America, and Biden says and does nothing. Tragically, 5 people were killed in a shooting in Colorado, and Biden immediately demands a ban on assault weapons. Why are we comparing death? And you wouldn't have said this. She wasn't tweeting this when those children were dying. You know what I mean? In the school shooting. It's only when trans and queer people are dying is she fucking disrespectful. But all the while still not doing anything to help gun control, and in fact making it harder for it to be passed. I am literally over these people. This is what I wrote on my Instagram story. I hope the far right, who have politicized and demonized the existence of trans and queer people, can see the blood on their hands. You are responsible for this. Stop galvanizing the hate of bigots for your political gain. People die for your bullshit, and we will continue to be adversely affected by your antics. You choose to fixate your attacks on people who you know you can delegitimize to your audiences and their pea-sized brains, and it's fucking gross. This is what I mean by that. That's a very pointed statement. But the pea-sized brain, well, I mean, Jesus. Not to say people who aren't educated have pea-sized brains, because I dropped out of college myself. I will just say, and it wasn't even real college. It was music school. But I live in the district where Marjorie Taylor Greene is the representative, unfortunately. And in our recent midterm election, she cleared her opponent, her Democratic opponent, Marcus Flowers. She had like 70% of the vote. A little more, give or take. She had a little more than 70. She cleared him. In the same district, the amount of people who have graduated from college is 20%. Being from the South and a person who went to college in the North, I learned a lot in the year and a half that I was there. I was around non-binary people for the first time. I was around a lot of people from a lot of different cultures I had never experienced. You know, I know black people, I know white people, I knew Hispanic people, I knew Asian people. But I wasn't really familiar with a lot of other cultures. There was a lot of exchange students. There was a lot of people from Europe, a lot of European people, exchange students from Southeast Asia, otherwise all over the place. That school was so diverse. I learned so much. But 70% of the people in this area voted for Marjorie Taylor Greene. A little bit more than that of this area is white. Comparatively, only 10% of this area is black. I think about 10%. Oh shit, what was I gonna say? This is not the time to be ADHD. Oh, and 20% of people have graduated from college. Most of these people have probably never left this area. Most of these people probably don't know very many people that aren't pretty similar to them. You know what I mean? And so I think that the world can humanize you, because your experiences, when you meet people that are different, you start to realize that we're all just pretty similar and we're just from different places. We were brought up different ways. Anyway, I'm just saying, I cannot deal. I I cannot deal. Also, please vote in the runoff election. Herschel Walker, believe it or not, actually got about 50% of the vote, and so did Reverend Representative Raphael Warnock. So we have to run off. We're having a runoff election for them, which is so annoying, but we have to vote. So please, please, please go out and vote again if that applies to you. It's really frustrating, but we do not want Herschel Walker in the Senate. I can tell you that right now. The man who brought a fake police badge at a debate and Jesus Christ, I just can't. And then didn't show up to the second one. Moving on from politics, I actually wasn't going to start with that. I was going to end with that. But it was just on my heart. My heart goes out to the families of the victims. I hope all the people who were injured but are still alive recover okay, recover well. I hope they have support, and I hope they have love surrounding them because I can't imagine what they're going through. And it's really fucked up that our existence is trivialized, queer people's existence is trivialized, politicized, has been made a partisan issue by people that are not us. I guarantee you, queer people did not make our identities a partisan issue. And I just can't. I cannot. But with that being said, I will continue with the rest of the episode. Like I said, my hearts go out to the families of the victims. Not my hearts. My heart. I only have one. If I had more than one, they could have it too. But I only have one. But anyway. My friend Jayla released a song called Lose My Mind. And so it's going to be the song of the week this week. Jayla sings her fucking face off, dog. And I asked for permission to play a clip. And so I'm going to play you a clip of Lose My Mind. And I'm sure it will motivate you to go listen to the full song on whatever service you listen to music on, because this shit eats. I'm gonna fast forward to when she's singing her face off, like for real. Sing, Jayla. Like, you better sing your face off. She sang her face off. Like, listen to Jayla's song, y'all. She has another one coming out. Let me go look on her Instagram. She has another one coming out, and I'm gonna tell you when it's coming out. I am Jayla. Her Instagram is I am Jayla official, I think. I'm having a hard time typing it right now. I am there she is. So her new song is called F With You Interlude, and it's coming out November 22nd. Available on all platforms November 22nd. Hey, that's tomorrow. It's coming out tomorrow. Speaking of people who have a song coming out tomorrow, my other friends, well, there's 3 members, and I know 2 of the members. Tiny Habits also has their single Hemingway coming out tomorrow. The reason I bring this up, I haven't heard this song. I've heard the clips, like anybody else who follows them on social media, but I used to live on Hemingway Street. I know Tiny Habits, or at least Maya and Judah. I don't know Senya, but oh my God, all of them are so, like, I'm obsessed with their sound. It's ethereal, it's gorgeous. They have the most beautiful 3-part harmonies you've ever heard in your life. And so I met them in college in Boston. Lizzy McAlpine also went to the college that all of us went to in Boston, and then she dropped out before us. And I don't know if that's how they connected. Somehow Tiny Habits and Lizzy McAlpine connected. And ultimately they ended up being in her Tiny Desk. Lizzy McAlpine's Tiny Desk for NPR came out a couple of weeks ago. And it's just her and a guitar and Senya, Maya, and Judah. Tiny Habits. And Senya played the guitar for a song or 2 also. But I was like, it's gorgeous. I love Tiny Desk so much. And that one is like my new favorite. And the fact that I can see like some of my friends on it too is, sorry, I didn't mean to bump the camera, is even Just more amazing. I love them so much, and they're so amazing. And like I can't. But anyway, their single Hemingway is coming out tomorrow. And the reason I bring it up is because when I lived in Boston and was going to college there, I lived on Hemingway Street. And I think it's about what I've got from the snippets, what I've gathered is that it's about like a breakup on Hemingway Street or something. So I think it's gonna wreck me because I did have some situations in Boston. So I think I just feel like I'm gonna relate and love, and the fact that I lived on the street, I just cannot. So I'm really happy that they have a new single coming out tomorrow. It's called Hemingway, and the group's name is Tiny Habits. Once again, comprised by Maya, or comprised. What does that word mean? It's made up of Maya, Senya, and Judah. I need to stop reaching out of my vocabulary. So anyway, the Tiny Desk is amazing. Lizzy McAlpine. I mentioned her first album on this podcast before, and I said I hadn't got into her second album yet that had come out, and bitch, I've got into it now because that Tiny Desk ate so bad I had to go listen to the album. I knew the single. She has a song on there called "Erase Me" with Jacob Collier. That was a single that knew. I remember listening to that when it came out, but I really didn't know the rest of the album. Ceilings is my favorite song. On the Tiny Desk, they did Ceilings, All My Ghosts, and then they did an unreleased song called Emma, and then they did Weird on the Tiny Desk, and all of those songs except for Emma are from what's the album called? 5 Seconds Flat. That's Lizzy McAlpine's second album, 5 Seconds Flat. And like I said, listen to it in its entirety the other day, and I have been obsessed um, since the Tiny Desk. I love it. I love it. I love it. I love it. And I love Tiny Habits, and I'm so excited for the song. They already have a song out called Pennies, Voice Memo, I believe, and loved that one too. I love them. So now I want to talk about how excited I am to say that via my friend Lindsay, I got Taylor Swift tickets and we're on the floor. So I know a lot of people have really terrible experiences buying Taylor Swift tickets this tour, for the Eras tour. But I mean, actually, it hadn't not been for Lindsay. Me and my friend Lindsay really love Taylor Swift. And so we were on the phone together buying tickets together because we both happened to get a pre-sale code, which was just luck because a lot of people I know did not get pre-sale codes. So we both just happened to get pre-sale codes. We both just happened to want to go together, and we both just happened to want to go in Atlanta. And so there's 3 or 4 shows in Atlanta. So I thought the chances that we were going to get tickets were pretty good, but I had no idea. I completely underestimated how bad it was for everybody else because me and Lindsay, like, I got on the phone with her and we typed in our pre-sale code like right before 10 o'clock, and it was fine. And then my Ticketmaster booted me out and I couldn't get back in. And then once I got back in, I was like really far back in line. But Lindsay's iPad worked fine. She stayed in line. And so she got on there. And as soon as she got on there, she bought her tickets. And then I sent her the money, and that was that. And so I didn't realize that everybody else had like really, really terrible experiences buying tickets. So I'm sorry, but I'm really excited because I've never seen Taylor Swift. I told you last episode or a couple episodes ago, how I had almost got to go to the Speak Now tour, and then my friends kind of like were sneaky about it. In like 2011, it was like over a decade ago. I'm still salty. But I've never seen Taylor Swift live before, and I've liked Taylor Swift for a very, 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 very long time. For a very long time, since Fearless, for sure. For sure. It's been a decade, longer than so. And longer than decade is what I meant. But I love Taylor Swift. I'm so excited to see her on April 28th for the very first time. And I just wanted to say, I got tickets! Like, that's really exciting. Because I mentioned, I think it might have been a TikTok or something. I don't know where I talked about Taylor Swift. I've been making TikToks recently. I'm trying to get back into TikTok since that's the way of the world now. This is kind of a disjointed segue because I'm just reading off of this bullet pointed list of some things I wanted to mention in this episode. But I want to comment on homophobia. Not in a political way. I'm not going to talk about the situation I was discussing earlier, the queer phobia, the transphobia, the homophobia that transpired in Colorado Springs, the pure hatred. I want to talk about homophobia kind of in its essence. There is homophobia of like people who aren't gay hating on gay people. There's like internalized homophobia where gay people like hate themselves or they project that onto other gays. So there's different kinds of homophobia, but I want to talk about the internalized homophobia that makes straight men and gay men alike hate on feminine boys, feminine men. There is an there are few things the world hates more than a feminine man. There are few things the world hates more than a feminine man. I think women is one of those things, unfortunately, considering the patriarchal society that we operate within. But I think feminine men are hated on. And I just told you that society hates patriarch, or that I just mentioned, excuse me, I had a little bit of stroke. I just mentioned that the patriarchal society within which we operate hates women. And it hates feminine men. What is the common denominator between women and feminine men? Femininity. I genuinely think that the hate for feminine men is misogyny. And I don't think I'm the only one. This is not an original idea. I'm just saying it's misogyny the way that feminine men are hated on. There's no other. Why does everybody have to be masculine? Why does everybody have to be masculine? Also, the gendering of clothes, like even like the other night, I went to friend. I cannot fucking talk today, and that's really ironic considering I'm making a podcast. I went to dinner with my friend Renee and her family, and I was wearing bean boots. I don't know if you know what bean boots are, but like in the South, whenever it rained, all the boys at my Georgia high school, they'd wear bean boots, and like I think they're winter boots. I bought them for Boston, like for the winter, for the snow, for the rain, for the slush that was on the street and in the like sidewalk and shit, you know? But like I said, a lot of Southern boys would wear them in the rain. And so I wore those boots to dinner the other night just because it's cold in Atlanta right now. And I was like, "Do you like my boy boots? These are like straight boy boots." And like gendering boots. You know what I mean? Like even it permeates even me because this is the society. This is the society that I was raised in too. But internalized homophobia is a bitch, because it comes out in projection in a lot of ways. And I think that gay men who are feminine, or straight men who are feminine, or any other kind of men who are feminine, are so beautiful. In my case, I really like to go all over the place. I love to dress and express myself really feminine, and then I like to wear my straight boy boots. You know what I mean? I like to explore. Some people are hyper feminine all the time. Some people explore. Some people, flux like me. Some people are just masculine, and that's okay too. And I'm not saying that masculine people don't have to be masculine. I'm just saying that masculine people need to mind their masculine business. You see what I'm saying? Don't project onto me what you don't want for yourself. The freedom. My friend Anna Harris, I don't mean to say her government name, but I know a lot of Annas, and we would always call her by her first and last name. My friend Anna posted on her story the other day something about hearing an older person tell a younger kid who was really excited to have their nails painted that they should take it off because it's not for boys. And that's unfortunate because now that kid thinks nail polish is not for boys. It thinks that paint that goes on your fingernails has a gender requirement. And I hope that sounds as ridiculous to you as it sounds to me. But it's also very sad because now that kid is going to project that onto another little boy who is excited about his nail polish. And he's going to say, nail polish is for girls. You see what I'm saying? It's a pattern and it's ugly. And it's sad because right now, we, feminine, masculine looking people, feminine boys, trans people, queer people, people who are not cut and dry man, grr, and woman, like frou frou or whatever the fuck, are the topic of so much hate. And it's being fueled by the political tirade that I mentioned earlier, but I'm not gonna go back into it. I'm not gonna go back into it. It's just sad. I just think people should be more free, and people should just do whatever they want to do. There's this fantastic Instagram account called Sister Cody, SISTERCODY, and I love this guy. He makes these really cute graphics that I post on my Instagram story all the time. I'm not gonna try to show you because it's gonna mess up my light. But there was one I saw the other day that was about freedom, and I'm just trying to find something about rules. He has a very specific brand, the way he draws it, and he'll just write words by the drawings. But like I said, there was one I really liked. I should have saved it or something. Like this one says, we are a lot more similar than we are different. And it's this brown person and this not brown person holding each other, you know? Like that's kind of not really, I think that maybe is not a good representation of his work because it's usually a lot deeper than that. But I really cannot find the one that I like. That is so sad. It was just something about like when you realize there are no rules. I don't, God damn it. I'm not going to be able to quote it. I'm going to keep looking for it. And while I'm looking for it, I'm going to talk about my playlist, A KOBLIZZY Christmas, which I talked about a lot last episode. But I just want to tell you now it's available on Amazon Music and Tidal. So you should go stream it on Amazon Music and Tidal if you have either of those platforms. It's obviously still on Apple Music and Spotify. And all of those links are in my link tree, which is linked in every single description of every single episode of this podcast. But I can also tell you it's linktr.ee/Kobe Warner. That's KOBEWARNER. You can follow me on Instagram and TikTok at KOBLIZZY, KOBLIZZY, the same name as this podcast. These graphics are just so cute, but I did get distracted. I do want to buy. Found it. It says, you do not have to stay in the lines. There were never any lines to begin with. It's on sale for $16. I think I'm going to buy a print. It's box letters, like, you know, like not like bubble letters, but they're like big letters and then they're colored in, but the coloring's all outside of the lines. And like I said, it says you do not have to stay in the lines. There were never any lines to begin with. And it has like the artist sitting at the bottom. I'll try to show you. I'll sacrifice my light for a moment. I just love this so much. I'm literally going to get it. I guess I could pull up the zoom to see if you can see it. Oh, you can see it. There it is. And there I am. So I really love that graphic. Anyway, I just wanted to plug that Instagram account. Why? I don't even know why I brought it up, but I love Sister Cody. So yeah, check Sister Cody out. Like I said, if you follow me on Instagram, you might have seen me repost some graphics on my story that are Sister Cody. I've loved that stuff for a while. Oh, I also wanted to tell you that my personal playlists, let's talk about that. So those are linked in my link tree now too, at the very bottom. If you go to the bottom, it'll be A KOBLIZZY Christmas on Spotify, Apple Music, Amazon Music, and Tidal. And then below it'll say my personal playlists are right here. And if you click on the are right here part, it'll bring up my personal Spotify profile, not my artist profile, but it is of the same name, Kobe Warner. And on that profile, among A KOBLIZZY Christmas and Kobe Warner Complete Collection, which is all of my discography, which is 7 songs, but all of them are in that playlist if you want to listen to my music in one pass. But among that are my Glee playlist, my musical theater playlist, it's called Theater Gay, my gospel playlist, my country playlist, my playlist, it's called Ouch, it's sad music. And then there's the Wonder Years. That is the music of my childhood. Then there's high school, because the Wonder Years goes up until middle school, 8th grade. And then high school is obviously high school. And then 2020, after we got out of high school because of the pandemic in March, 2020 till the end of the year, and then all of 2022, and a KOBLIZZY Christmas. A KOBLIZZY Christmas is at the top. So those playlists are also linked in my link tree if you want them. Like I said, link tree in the description of every episode of this podcast. With that being said, I want to mention that we shall not forget the victims of the Colorado Springs shooting at Club Q. I'm going to pull up their names and I'm going to say them. And that is the last thing that I am going to do in this episode. I am having a hard time finding a list. This is so sad. The news coverage is so sad. The details. I'm not even going to talk about the suspect. Fuck that bitch. I'm not even going to say his name. Not even going to say it. I hope he rots. Is he dead? No, I hope he rots. Victims: Daniel Davis Aston, 28. Tara Bush, aka DJ T Beats. Is that it? They don't know the rest of the victims? Oh my goodness. Is that all they know about the victims? I'm so confused. I didn't realize that was all they knew about the victims. That article was updated last night. I'm taping this episode Monday morning, the 21st, same day it's going up. And that article was from last night, the 20th at 9:30. Well, my wish is that it will not always be like this for queer people. That it will not always be like this for people who are different. And I apologize once again for the tone of this episode. I know it wasn't as positive as it usually is the entire time, but the world is shitty sometimes, and sometimes my mood will reflect that. Also, fuck Elon Musk for letting Donald Trump back on Twitter. Especially right after that dumb reality TV stupid scum of the earth nigga announced that he was running for president again. And then Elon Musk decides, oh, I'm not going to pander. I'm just going to go balls to the wall fucking batshit ridiculous. I'm not going to pander to anybody. Definitely not the general public. Anyway, I just can't. Like, fuck you, Elon Musk. That is so annoying. I don't know if he's ever been interested in pandering, actually. But anyway, that feels like a fitting ending for this episode. Fuck Elon Musk. See you next week. Bye.